There it goes. That horror one. Now for me, the driver is probably the most emotional golf club in the bag. And in today's Friday Fix, sponsored by Players Fuel, I'm going to talk about the one thing you should never ever do with driver. So let's look at that last drive and let's see what was the major killer in that shot. So we can see there that the ball carried 207 yards, rolled out 230, obviously out to the right-hand side, so that's really not what we're looking for. But we can see there, my low point was 5.8 inches ahead, and the attack angle was minus 5.4, which means that the driver was moving down through impact, taking all the loft off the club. And when I see golfers doing that, I see them kind of really manipulating the club to get the ball in the air. So I'm going to show you today, and at the end, I'm going to give you a great, simple little drill with a piece of kit that won't cost you anything because you've already got it with your driver, that's going to help you hit up on the ball, hit the ball further, and hit the ball straighter with driver. Right, so the reason a lot of golfers hit down on driver, I believe, is that they tee the ball too low to begin with, because when they've teed it up high, they've hit a lot of shots off the top of the club face, they start teeing the ball down. Now the problem when you tee the ball down is it makes you kind of hit down more, so it kind of lets you get away with what you were doing, but we don't want that, because we saw the numbers on that last shot were absolutely awful for distance and accuracy. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is tee the ball up high. So I've got the ball on the orange plastic tee, nice and high. When I put my driver in behind the golf ball, there's probably nearly most of the golf ball above the club head. Now I know for a lot of you guys, you're going to start panicking. You're going to think this could go up and hit the roof. So we're then going to change a couple of things in setup to encourage us hitting up on the golf ball a little bit so that we can start doing a bit more of this. And even though we've got that gentle little fade, we can see there the club's travelled up 3.2 degrees, 254 yards carry and 277. So hopefully that looked really easy. So a couple of adjustments we made, and there's no hard and fast about you have to do it absolutely perfectly. You can play around a little bit with this. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to move your golf ball forward in your stance. Because the club's moving in that circle, we can see if we get the ball a bit too central, like a lot of golfers do, the ball is very, very close to the bottom of the swing, and it's easy then when you've been hitting shots off the floor to get the low point ahead and hit down too much. So we're going to move the ball forward, and I don't mind if you, to begin with, really overdo it. It can be a negative moving too far forward, but experiment. So for me, I'm going to put this kind of really forward, far too far forward for me, and let's see what it happens. So again, a little bit of a fade, don't mind that, but 6.2 inches behind, I've hit up 3.8 degrees, and again, 254 yards carry, 274 total. So the big high tee, move the ball forward, but there's also an extra little bit in your setup that we need to do to encourage you swinging on a slightly better path, but also to hit up. So when guys get the ball in the middle, you tend to see that the shoulders are very, very level, which means that the shoulders are actually off to the left. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the ball forward with just your left hand on the club. You're then going to bring your right hand in underneath. And you can see straight away, my left shoulder height set, my right hand coming in under my left hand, makes my right shoulder lower and gives me a little bit of spine tilt. But you might even want to just exaggerate that a little bit more, bump the hips towards the target and get that little bit of spine tilt. And if you get that extra spine tilt and make a swing, again, I've got that little baby fade, nearly 5 inches behind, 2.8 degrees up, and again, I'm getting some very consistent numbers. So straight away there, just by building a few things into setup, we're stopping doing that one thing that we never want to do with driver, which is getting the club hitting down on the golf ball. So we've got the ball forward, and like I said, you might find that if you get too far forward, that you struggle a little bit. The strike might be low on the face, you might get a little bit more shape, but don't be afraid to experiment in practice. So for me now, I've got that forward, I've got my little bit of spine tilt, if I'm getting my hands on the club better. One big thing at address, a mistake I see, probably because golfers try and copy some of the best players in the world, is that where they get their hands at address relative to the golf ball. So because you see the likes of Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy with the ball forward, but with their hands well forward, I see a lot of golfers do that. And the problem is then, as they swing through, the hands are really leading and the club face never catches up. So don't be afraid with that ball forward, with that set up, if the hands are actually slightly behind the golf ball again. And then you might even find that with that slightly change of handle position, you start seeing the ball draw. Now, wouldn't that be lovely if you hit that shot now, having hit that one at the opening of the video? We've got those few little things in setup. Now, the drill. I know you all want to know the drill. So what do we need? What's the magic piece of kit? It's basically your driver head cover. So the beauty is, if you're practicing with driver, you've already taken it off. I want you to pop that head cover ahead of the golf ball, maybe a foot ahead. And when you swing, I want you to feel that you're going to miss that head cover. Because if you swing and the club's traveling down at impact, you're going to swing, hit the head cover, clean that out. And like we said, the high tee, you're going to hit it off the top. You're potentially going to take all the loft off, and it's just going to be dreadful. So I'm going to leave the head cover there. We're going to build in, ball forward, left hand on, right hand underneath, maybe a little bit of extra spine tilt. We're going to swing, miss that head cover, and see if this is the perfect drive. Might not be perfect, but it's pretty good. I was nearly 6 inches behind. I've hit 3.6 degrees up, 254 yards carry, and 281 yards total. So guys, we saw at the start, the one thing we never want to do with driver is get that club moving down through impact. Not if we want to hit the ball long and straight. But I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. This Friday Fix, sponsored by Players Fuel. Put that into play. Have some fun hitting longer and straighter drives. And I'll see you all very soon back on my channel.